So I'll just be quick then. I'm a biology major, and it's actually been shown that what makes people gay, that is attracted to the opposite sex, is a gene. So I'm just wondering, why would God, if you believe that the naturalistic world was created by God, just as the wine is created, why would God create someone to be gay and condemn them to the life of being alienated, discriminated against, and just really create their body? Like, why would he do that? When he preaches from the beginning, supposedly, that being gay is wrong, why would he forcibly go that upon someone?
That's a good question. I don't think that any of you would change your opinion on murder if there were a murder gene proved. But I'm not convinced that gene exists. But even if it did, the reason that I believe what I believe is because I believe in the gospel. I believe in the power of God to save and deliver us from our sins. So that if God determines an activity to be sinful, he can because he's God. But he has also provided for our salvation no matter what our sin is. This is much more hopeful than the naturalistic view which says you're a product of your environment. There's no hope in that at all. I mean, for anyone who's in any sin at all, who is hooked on drugs, hooked on alcohol, this is exactly why Jesus is dying on the cross, with the power of the gospel.
Okay.
He's right in saying that if you're gay, there is no hope. Not that I think there's something to be hopeful about. It's totally fine. No. Well, you said that there's no hope for a cure. It's in your nature, and that's totally true. If you're homosexual, that's fine, and you should learn to live with yourself. I'm really curious that you say that there's a gay gene found. I assume that you mean it's one of...
No, it's been found as genetic. It's seen to be genetic, and it's passed on by home.
That's pretty neat, because I know a set of identical twins, one of whom is homosexual. So I'm certain the other one will want to know.
Well, there is a...
That's fine.
No, it has been shown, though, that twins actually, 60% of twins have sex. One of them is gay.
I cede to your superior wisdom.
Sam.
This
is a question that will be like two sides of the same coin directed at each of you, so I'll ask them in order. First to Johnny. A direct quote from your statements were, without evidence, we won't make claims at all. But if, in the realm of moral claims, for example, is it not a contradiction that an atheist must at some level make a non-rational intuitive assumption in order to derive moral claims? And so the other half of the question towards Adam is, if the evil of the world is caused by man's rejection of God, why do God's natural disasters and diseases kill good Christians every day? Simply put, why do good things happen to bad people? And if the answer is that God works in mysterious ways that we cannot fully understand, how do you feel confident in your ability to understand any of God's works or books here on earth?
So, for me, the issue of morality is really an issue of definitions. I think that morality is the only topic to be debated so hotly when what we're really debating about is the definition of morality. It's a word that's meaningless when we argue over the meaning. When I talk about morality, I say laws and regulations that would help us live in a better society, a more peaceful society, where, on the whole, humans would be happier. I think that's a laudable goal, simply the fact that I want to live in a society like that. And if I was anyone else, I think I'd like to live in that society as well. So, I totally agree there may not be a complete justification of some kind of absolute moral code, but I would say that I don't want a moral code that doesn't, like, if morality is not that which increases human happiness, screw that. We should increase human happiness instead.
As for natural disasters, this is something much different than a moral evil that's committed. It's a different realm. Natural disasters such as floods or hurricanes or the like, which we have experienced. It can't be because of human immorality, at least directly, if you want to get into the debate of environmental disaster and the effects it has. I won't get into that. It's clear that God has created the universe with certain laws, the laws of nature. In fact, that's how scientists discover the laws of nature. It begs for the fact that there's a lawgiver to that. I have not keep on time. But when you talk about natural law and natural disasters, in a fallen world where sin exists, we're experiencing an environment that has been affected by sin and the fall of mankind. So even if there's no direct connection between our sin and natural disasters, we're living in a fallen world, which is the result of man's sin, as Paul says in Romans 8. The creation is groaning because of man's sin. God cursed the ground because of Adam's sin. And so could there be a fire that cooked but did not also burn? I don't think that's reasonable to